welcome to the perfection section of our perfection series. Now, in this section, we'll be going over what perfection is, as well as the method of thinking to reach perfection. But before we get started, here's a little intro into the subject. In the mid-1980s, the video rental industry was dominated by Blockbuster. Their business model worked great. They focused on making it convenient to rent videotapes from approximately 6,500 retail stores worldwide. Their view of perfection was to continuously expand to far-reaching areas to keep video rentals convenient. They pursued this aggressive expansion strategy through the late 1980s with great success. Unbeknownst to Blockbuster, two men by the names of Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph were formulating their own view of perfection when it came to movie distribution. $40 in back charges for returning Apollo 13 late was a catalyst for Hastings to launch a company called Netflix. Hastings and Randolph launched their business in 1997, the same year DVDs were introduced. Although there were only about 1,000 titles available in this new format and the cost of DVD players was high, Hastings and Randolph saw DVDs as a viable option to replacing bulky VHS tapes. They initially recognized the primary shortcomings of the Blockbuster model. Blockbuster is a supermarket of videotapes. If a particular title is unavailable or out of stock, then customers leave disappointed. Carrying all those titles in so many locations is also very costly. In contrast, Netflix's initial model would virtually guarantee customers would get the exact movie they wanted. DVDs were small and light enough to be sent using a single first-class stamp. An enclosed envelope with a first-class stamp would also allow customers to conveniently ship movies back. In September of 1999, Netflix introduced a service that allowed users to keep up to 4 DVDs with no late charges for a flat fee of $15.95 per month. The model was working great, but Hastings wanted more. In May of 2000, he announced his latest view of perfection, offering movies via streaming video over the internet. Many were skeptical about this new model, but he was quoted as saying, "What Netflix is about is owning a transition stage as renting converts to video on demand." So the first step in pursuing perfection is having a clear vision. Your organization needs to know very clearly what it's striving for. The next step is to make sure that vision is adaptable. Customer demand and technology changes overnight. Make sure your vision can change with it. Think for a moment. Does your company have a clear view of perfection? If so, is that model stuck in the 1980s like that of Blockbuster? Are you willing to adapt your view of perfection to align with that of the customer, just like Netflix has? So what is perfection and where is its place in Lean? The House of Lean breaks down into standards and standard work as the base, just-in-time and Jidoka as the pillars, and perfection, or the pursuit of perfection, as the roof. So to better illustrate this, let's relate this to sports. Now, you've probably noticed that a lot of examples from the site come from sports. We've taken Ono's lead on this. He saw many similarities between sports and manufacturing. The Toyota production system thrives under an environment of teamwork. But keep in mind that team sports and teamwork were not always part of Japanese culture. According to Ono, Japanese traditional sports were one-on-one. These sports included kendo, or the Japanese version of fencing, and judo, which is comparable to Western wrestling. Notice that in both sports, 2 participants, or more specifically, 2 adversaries face each other one-on-one. Win, lose, or draw, the outcome depends solely on each individual. When Westerners introduced team sports like baseball, volleyball, and soccer, they not only permeated the realm of sports in Japan, but also made an impact on the culture as a whole. This manifests itself in their ability to compete internationally in both sports and business without necessarily having individuals that are smarter or more athletically gifted than those of other nations. So back to the House of Lean. It should be well understood that all of the components of the House of Lean are equally important. For example, many Lean practitioners love the just-in-time portion of the Toyota production system. But how can we create a just-in-time environment without building a strong base of stability? And what would be the purpose of creating a just-in-time environment without built-in quality from Jidoka? And how about the roof? What are we building toward if we don't have a clear vision of perfection? Again, all components of the House of Lean are equally important. An imbalanced approach to Lean will cause your house to fall apart. If I had to relate the House of Lean to a football team, it would look something like this. Stability is the ground level of attributes that all football players require. This includes good work ethic, mental toughness, speed, power, agility, flexibility, and stamina. All good players possess these characteristics. In fact, these are universal traits in any sport you play. I'd relate the just-in-time pillar to the individual skills that players have. In football, they'd be running, catching, blocking, and tackling. Every member of the team must be able to perform these individual tasks. The judoka pillar would be the team attributes associated with football. They are understanding and memorizing plays, understanding your blocking and tackling assignments on plays, and putting the team's objectives before your own. Notice that the team skills are independent of individual skills, but they are equally important to the overall performance of the team. This leaves the roof of the House of Lean. At Toyota, they label the roof Kaizen. Kai is a Chinese character for to change, and Zen is a Chinese character meaning good. Together, they mean to improve or to change for the better. We've taken the liberty to describe the roof as perfection or the pursuit of perfection, which implies Kaizen. To relate this to our football example, this is to continuously improve in each of the supporting structures below. How can you incrementally improve your speed and stamina a little every day? How can you improve your running, catching, and blocking every day? How can you get better at memorizing your routes and blocking and tackling assignments? So what I've just described here is process level changes. This is known as process Kaizen. But there are also system-wide changes that a coach may implement. For example, how can we take a team with limited success using a pro-style offense and implement an excellent option-based attack? So I just introduced two types of Kaizen. They are process Kaizen and system Kaizen. Process Kaizen deals with daily incremental improvements made by your operators, or in our case, football players. These small changes add up over time to some big changes, so process Kaizen is very important. The system level of Kaizen involves large changes to an overall manufacturing or processing method. This generally involves more upper management than process level Kaizen and produces more step function improvement. Again, a coach deciding to change an offense from a pro-style attack to an option-based attack is a system-level Kaizen. So let's relate this back to the video rental industry. In the mid-1980s, I noticed that video chains had video boxes on the shelves ready for customers to pull. When I was ready to rent a movie, I would take the cover up to the front, and the clerk would go back to the back of the store and pull the particular movie I wanted. A process-level Kaizen instituted was to have videos in security boxes placed directly on the shelves. Customers could now pull the movie they wanted, and there was no need for the clerk to go back and look for the movie the customer wanted. A system-level change would be a step function improvement we see from renting movies from Blockbuster to Netflix's original model. In the Blockbuster model, the customer drives to the video store and rents movies. If the movies are returned late, then a late fee is charged. In the system level of Kaizen at Netflix, the customer orders movies from home and they are delivered via mail. Those movies can be held onto with no late fees and no driving back and forth from the video store. So let me make the point that neither process level Kaizen nor system level Kaizen is more important. They both play an equal part in your pursuit of perfection. Just as just-in-time and judoka both play equal parts in the House of Lean, so do system and process level Kaizen. So we've established process and system levels of Kaizen. The final way to pursue perfection is Kaikaku. Kai is the same Chinese character used in change as you see in Kaizen. The second character, Kaku, literally translates to transform or to expel. Together, Kaikaku means to innovate, reform, or to radically change. Whereas both process and system level Kaizen improved an existing structure, Kaikaku is a complete reformation or an expulsion of the existing model. So staying with the video industry example, a Kaikaku of the entire process is Netflix's current model, which allows customers to stream movies directly to your TV or computer. It's Kaikaku because it changes the core of how movies are procured. There are no more discs or video cassettes to deal with. Media is streamed electronically and almost instantaneously to your TV or computer. So you've probably already guessed that process level Kaizen, system level Kaizen, and Kaikaku are equally important. But also be aware that there is no set order in which to pursue each. Perhaps your system is fine and all you need to do is improve your process Kaizen. Maybe you need to completely Kaikaku your entire model to better align with your customers' demands. Or maybe you just need a system-level Kaizen. Again, all three approaches are equally important and they should be employed as needed and in the sequence needed for your organization to pursue perfection. So the question is, how do you take Process Kaizen, System Kaizen, and Kaikaku to pursue perfection? The key to making any and all of these forms of change work lays in your ability to integrate lean thinking with lean actions. So let's relate this back to our paper airplane exercise. I used the simulation to create a common understanding about the basics of lean. Participants in our classes begin to think lean, but they often fail to make the connection with the real world. For example, they understand that pushing work to the next station is the incorrect approach, but when it comes time to apply this concept to their daily jobs, they continue to push work at a furious pace, all for the sake of perceived efficiency. The pursuit of perfection, Kaizen and Kaikaku, will remain theoretical buzzwords in your organization until you make a firm decision to take action by integrating them into how you perform business. So here's our journey to paper airplane perfection. We started by mapping our current state, and then we created an ideal state map. After some considerable work, this is what our final model looks like. This is our Heijunka board, and it serves as a central nervous system for our model. It tells us what to produce, when to produce it, and how much to produce. To control raw materials inventory, we have a 2-bin system. Each bin is color-coded with electric tape to show what color raw material it is to house. An empty bin signals to the material handler that the bin must be refilled. Next, we have a 2-person cell. The work between each worker is almost perfectly balanced. The first worker completes operations 1 and 4, and the second worker completes operations 2 and 3. We have a production Kanban post for the material handler to leave production or P cards. This triggers a cell to produce what is taken by the material handler. A 2-bin finished goods supermarket is also used. Each finished plane has a corresponding P card housed in the bin with it. Items due to ship are placed in the shipping area. The shipping department places planes in lanes that are conducive to pull by the final customer. The material replenishment area is also located away from the cell. Here, empty bins are dropped off and full bins are taken. Finally, a withdrawal Kanban post was put in place to hold withdrawal or W cards. So here it is as we ran the real model. A red W or withdrawal card is pulled. The empty blue bin in the 2-bin system is taken by the material handler and placed on the cart. The red W card tells her to withdraw a red plane. So she first takes out the red P card or production card and places it into the yellow Kanban post. She then removes the red plane from the bin. The empty bin is then moved next to the production Kanban post for the convenience of the operators. She takes the red plane over to the shipping department. She then goes over to the material replenishment area and drops off the empty blue bin in the blue color-coded area. She picks up a full blue bin to replenish what the cell has consumed on the previous run. She drops off the red W card in the withdrawal Kanban post and then pulls the next W card in the sequence, which is another W red card. She replaces the missing blue raw material bin with the full bin she picked up earlier. She takes an empty red bin from the raw materials area. This makes sense because a red plane was made on the previous run. The red W card she got on the board tells her she needs to withdraw a red plane, so she pulls the red P card out of the bin and puts it in the Kanban post. She takes the plane and leaves the empty bin near the production Kanban post. She drops off the red plane and then the red bin and picks up a full red bin to replace what she just dropped off. She places the W card in the Kanban post and withdraws the next card in the sequence. So while this is going on, all other functions are working together to support the smooth pace of production. When she drops off a P card, this causes a chain reaction in the work cell. Workers react by producing just that color. Once complete, they place the plane back in the bin with the associated production card so it's ready for the next time the material handler makes a loop. The material prep department also reacts to the pull from the customer. Notice that when the material handler drops off an empty blue bin, it is immediately filled. Also notice that a full set of raw materials is kept in a 2-bin system, so the material handler doesn't have to wait for the material prep department to fill an empty bin. She can continue moving by dropping off an empty bin and picking up a full one. Notice how many components of the House of Lean are integrated into a single working system. Integration is one of the main themes in the pursuit of perfection. Not only must you integrate thought and action, but also the components of Lean into a single working model. The Toyota production system was labeled by its parts until John Krafcik correctly characterized the entire system as being Lean. Prior to that, it was known as Kanban system, just-in-time, cellular manufacturing, Kaizen, and even 5S. Notice that these are just components of a greater business philosophy known as Lean. Understanding the components and integrating them with thought and action with a drive toward a clear definition of perfection is the only way to become a true Lean company. Now take a moment and think. Does your organization have a clear view of perfection? Is this view current? Do you have plenty of Lean thinkers in your organization but no Lean doers? Do you see components of Lean in the form of 5S and Kanban cards clumsily scattered around your shop floor? Perhaps you are the missing component in all of this. Take this as a personal challenge to become that individual that drives your organization to a clear view of perfection. Pick a model line to support this vision. Be the catalyst that integrates the scattered components of Lean you see into well-organized value streams that support the vision. Most importantly, be bold and take action. Don't pick up another Lean book. Instead, pick up an A3 size paper and start solving some problems. Take action. We at Simplex Improvement appreciate all of you who have contributed to the initial wave of videos on this website. We also wish the best of luck to those of you who have taken our advice and decided to take action. It's been said that even a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We wish you the best of luck. So here's a quick summary of what we learned. We defined what perfection was. We looked at the interaction of all of Lean thinking into one comprehensive business philosophy. Then we looked into creating a clear vision.